I was asked to to discuss teams that missed the playoffs and why they missed the playoffs. Now, I don't have an Islanders hat, so just pretend it's an Islanders hat. Let's discuss the Islanders, because they got close. They got painfully close. They won their last 6 games. And before they won those last 6 games, I said I don't see a way they're going to make the playoffs. And you know, it wasn't to be a smartass or anything. I wanted the Islanders to get in. I wanted the Islanders. I wanted Tampa. I wanted Toronto. I knew that if Toronto didn't make it, it wasn't going to be the end of the world because I knew eventually they're going to win something. But for the Islanders, I wanted them to win something because I wanted Tavares to go, there's a reason to stay in New York. Now, there is a bright side here. When Doug Weight took over, the record got a lot better. The problem is they waited too long to get rid of Jack Capuano. What was the date here? Doug Weight took over. Yeah, January 17th. So January 17th. And that was after they had beaten Boston. They were 18, 17, and 8. Is that really when that happened? Yeah. Yep. So at the time that they brought in Weight, they had 18 wins, 17 losses, and 8 overtime losses. They ended up with a record of 41 wins, 29 losses, and 12 overtime losses. So they played much better after they brought in Weight. But they waited too long. And this happens a lot. I know a lot of flack gets thrown at GMs who get rid of coaches in the first month of the year. I know there's a lot of fans who say things along the lines of, well, the team hadn't even played together yet, or they didn't have time to gel, or they're just, the coach is the fall guy, they just had a slow month. If Capuano had been gone during that first month, so let's say, let me try to find the optimal time here. At the end of November, they had 6 wins, 10 losses, 4 overtime losses. So you're 20 games into the season. If they had replaced Capuano with Weight then, and if they'd started the turnaround then, they're in the playoffs right now. They probably would have threatened the Rangers for 3rd place in the division. No, they wouldn't. They would have. No, Shannon, they wouldn't have. They probably would have threatened to knock the Rangers out of that number 1 wildcard spot. And they could very well have been playing back and forth with Columbus, because if you look at their record, they beat the Rangers, they lost to Columbus, they lost badly. They beat Columbus the next time, then they got killed by Columbus, and then they lost to Columbus again. Funny thing being, both of those games were after Weight took over. I don't know. I still think that if you get rid of Weight, or you get rid of Capuano earlier, and if you do it at the end of November, or no, they were 8, 10, and 4. That in 22 games at the end of November, they had 8 wins. But that's the thing, too. They would go on little winning streaks to make you think maybe they'd pull out of it, and then they wouldn't. And it's hard to dissect exactly what happened here. So let's go look at the stats here. Tavares, 66 points in 77 games. He definitely played better after Weight took over. Josh Bailey, 56 points. No complaints there. Anders Lee had 34 goals. Nick Leddy had 46 points on the blue line. Brock Nelson ended up with 20 goals. Jason Chimera, again, the ageless one with 20 goals, is 37 years of age. Andrew Ladd, who had a really poor first half of the season, he seemed to turn his game around after Waite got there, and he ended up with 23 goals. He only had 31 points, but he had 23 goals, and he played very well the last stretch of the season, well enough that I stopped criticizing him. Strome is Strome. Cizikas isn't a guy you're counting on for points. Beauvillier is going to develop. Kulemin, 23 points. Boychuk didn't have a great season. Seidenberg did have a great season. Best season Dennis Seidenberg's had in quite a while. Clutterbuck may have played his way out of New York with that season. 5 goals. Even though he's an energy guy, he didn't seem to be contributing as much to them as he had previous seasons. I think they missed Matt Martin. I do. I think losing Matt Martin took something away from them, and I think Matt Martin missed them. You look at his totals in Toronto, and they sort of took a nosedive. I think that line needed each other. Hickey had a good season, and from there, I don't think Hamonic had a very good season for them. He only played 49 games, and I don't think it helped Hamonic to have the distractions he seemed to be dealing with for the last while. But it's really hard to look at a team like the Islanders and go, okay, so they were close. Their goaltending, Jaro Halak ended up with a .915 save percentage. Thomas Greiss, .913. Berube ended up with an .889. And I think if you want to trace, so if you take the coaching out, let's just say that the coaching had nothing to do with it. The decision to carry 3 goaltenders at the start of the year was stupid. The idea that, well, we can't get Berube through waivers, so we're going to waive Halak, in retrospect, was dumb. Halak wasn't playing particularly well, but Jaro Halak is still a better goaltender than Berube. Berube, I still think he's a middling goaltender. I qualify him in the same category as Tokarski was a few years ago. Tokarski could be a good goaltender, but if you lose Tokarski, you're not crying over it. And to me, it seemed like they were really fighting to keep Berube because they think what he could be, and yet the team paid the price for it because they're carrying 3 goaltenders. They should have just waived Berube and said these are our 2 goalies and gone from there. And I think they probably would have done better. I don't think the distraction helps goaltenders either. When there's 3 goaltenders in the locker room, it has to be somewhat of a situation where they look around and go, there's one too many of us. Somebody has to go. I can think of, I remember Chicago at one point had 3 goaltenders, and it worked. I know Darren Pang was one of those 3 goaltenders. I'm trying to remember, was Murray Bannerman one of the other goaltenders? It wasn't a cup-winning team. It wasn't a contending team. I just remember they had 3 goaltenders, and it didn't end their season. I think Jimmy Waite was the 3rd goalie. I'm pretty sure Jimmy Waite and Darren Pang were 2 of them. I want to say Bannerman for the 3rd, but I'm not sure. But I know there were 3 goaltenders in Chicago at one point, and it worked. And I have to think that far back to the last time that I can remember it working. Maybe you guys can remember something and put something in the comments. But carrying 3 goaltenders is a mistake. It is always a mistake to carry 3 goaltenders. And in the case of the New York Islanders, I could understand the panic about Berube if they didn't already have other goaltenders who are going to be damn fine goaltenders in their own right that are prospects right now. Go ahead and grab Mr. Magazine here, because I know the names that I've got in my head are Washington goaltenders and goaltenders for other teams. Sorokin is one of them. Soderstrom's another. And they're both projected to be starters at some point. So, Greiss isn't old. Greiss is 31. Halak's 31. That's not old for a goaltender. So, you're probably going to get 3 years out of one of them. Probably not both, but you're going to get 3 years out of one of them. So, in 3 years, either Sorokin or Sandstrom should be capable of stepping in and being your starter. Or at the very least, you've got one for a backup and you can sign another one as a free agent or trade for one. There are lots of goaltenders out there. Lots. And the Islanders seem to take their season and say, we're starting with 3 goaltenders, and from there it just never made sense. Especially when you look at the end of the season results here, and in 51 games played, Greiss has a 2.69 goals against and a .913 save percentage. On QS, which is, I think, quality shots, .612 save percentage. So quality save percentage. Halak had a 2.8 goals against, a .915 save percentage, and a 53.8 quality shots percentage. I think that's what it is. QS? QS. Quality start percentage. Okay. So quality start percentage. Sorry, let's go back. So quality start percentage. So they had a good start. Greiss had 61% quality starts. Halak had 53% quality starts. And Berube had 42.9% quality starts. So less than half of his games were quality starts. I guess that's where you get a save percentage of over 900. I don't see it. I don't see it. So maybe you guys can let me know in the comments below what exactly was being seen here that I'm not seeing. And in last year's stats, he had a .914 save percentage. He only played 7 games. Only 6 of them were starts. His quality starts were 66%. But he didn't have, and he doesn't have the kind of stats that you would attribute to a guy that you're willing to put your team's whole whatever into. And now the latest on Berube is from yesterday, actually. It's an article from RotoWire stating that Jean-Francois Berube is expected to test free agency. So even better, the Islanders go through all of this, and now Berube's not even coming back. And I'm not sure where he's going to go. Oh god, it's going to be Dallas. Oh, I could just see Jim Nill and Ken Hitchcock coming out and saying, okay, we bought out Niemi, we bought out Lehtinen, we're going to carry around the cap hit for these guys, but this Berube kid, I tell you, he was really good in 2015-16, and we think there's a good future for him in 16-17, and he'll have this big press conference, and then the first reporter's going to go, Jim, it's 17-18 coming up. Did you see his 16-17 stats? And Nill's going to go, yeah, I'm sure they're fine. Yeah, that's where we're going. All right, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Again, I think the 3 goalie thing wrecked the Islanders season, and the coaching thing. If you're going to get rid of Capuano, do it early and get Doug Weight in there. Weight came in as an interim. I don't think they knew what they were getting with Weight. They know now. They signed him long term. He's going to stick around for a while. Smart move. Smart move by the Islanders. They learned eventually. Garth Snow, I think, saved his job when Doug Weight went in there and did a damn fine job. I think because of the way the team ended the season, because they were this close to making the playoffs, Garth Snow's job is safe for another year. And he should give a gift basket and some flowers to Mr. Doug Weight for helping him keep his job. Again, let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And I'll be discussing other teams as well. I just wanted to start off with the Islanders because they were close. And maybe I'll discuss Tampa, although the reasons Tampa missed the playoffs are pretty basic, pretty obvious, but we can get into it.